We are the dog constantly chasing its tail, aren't we? Inextricably tied to the principle of protection from self-destruction, from ourselves. And we do that since the beginning of time with everything. We love nuclear energy, but we have to protect ourselves from it, don't we? We love our weapons, but we have to protect ourselves from it. The very thing that we utilize for the utility and function of life, for ease and comfort, productivity. At the same time, we have to put in protections to protect ourselves from the thing that is helping us, that we use for ourselves. We protect ourselves because everything we do has a tendency of self-destruction and destruction. Remember the classical movies, or perhaps you don't, from the 1940s and 50s? The werewolf man. He would tie himself on a full moon night to a bed, to a rail somewhere in a jail cell to protect you from himself and to protect himself. He knew that he was going to turn into the wild wolf once the moon rose. So he would chain himself, tie himself down, even give himself a drug, anything to try to prevent himself from destroying others and himself. Addicts do it all the time. What do you do to protect yourself from your addiction? All kinds of things. You try not to hang around with people that are drinking or smoking or doing whatever your addiction is. And you let them know as well that you can't drink. So don't bring alcohol in my house. I can't go to the wedding. Is alcohol being served there? You're trying to protect yourself from an addiction that's out of control. Why? Because you are probably going to kill someone on the road. You're probably even going to kill yourself. So you're doing whatever you can to protect yourself from yourself and others from yourself, because you know your tendency and your weakness. Not everyone does that because most don't care, but those that do are doing whatever they can. They get the nicotine patch, they get all kinds of medications, they go to AA. They're doing whatever they can to protect themselves from themselves and protect the others from the weakest part of them. Our laws are set up that way, no matter what laws there are. How do we protect ourselves from the criminal, the neighbor, the stranger in the street? So we call it the Second Amendment. The right to bear arms really is for self-defense and defense against a government turned on its people. For we are a government of, for, and by the people, not the government. The people aren't here because of the government. The government's there because of the people. How do we protect ourselves from a government gone wrong or a pet? You see, protections have to be put in place, and we do it all the time. Race car drivers, the rollover bars inside, protecting themselves, from the car that they trust, but the car will kill you. If you get into a crash, what's deployed? Boom! There is the airbag, protecting yourself from the impact of a car. Everything we have is designed to protect us from it itself. The internet, who designed it? What is it going to do? The very tool for communication has been the tool of misinformation and all kinds of other things that we've used the internet for. The number one thing on the internet is porn. It wasn't necessarily designed for that, was it? Not certain it was. But it doesn't matter. Unintended consequences. Then you've got to protect yourself from the medicines you take. You take one medicine, you got to take another medicine to counter what that medicine is doing. And all of these technologies, they're talking about it. Russia at its BRICS summit, designed to protect itself from Western dominance, the dollar dominance, designing a new world reserve currency, forming a new alliance to counter the G7 alliances. Everyone is trying to protect themselves from other people and from themselves. Hence the doomsday shelters and bunkers you have in Idaho or Montana. You're survivalists. We don't know what's coming. We don't know when it's coming. We do our best to try to make plans and contingencies for these things, and it doesn't always work because it hits you from a way that you did not know. You'll build one protection for one way, and it'll come another way where you have no protection. You thought it was going to be A, but it turned out to be Z. We are, as a species, constantly trying to figure out how to survive and how to protect ourselves. And the number one person is protect you from you. So you go to anger management because you know what you do when you get angry. Or we go to lust management because we know what we do when we get lustful. Or you go to greed management because you know what you do when you get a little taste. You just want more, 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 more. Your family will never see you if you can make another buck or another. You see how that works. And then God gave man his spirit. And man violated the rule. And then God put a guard around the tree of life to prevent man, to protect man, both from himself. He went down and scattered them at the Tower of Babel when they came together to achieve that which is going to end in their own destruction, to protect them from themselves. You do it with your children all the time. Why can't I do that? It's not good for you. Why can't I have Snickers for dinner? Because you'll have no teeth and you'll get diabetes. I had to protect you from yourself. I know it tastes good, but it really isn't that good. I know that looks like something you should do, but it really isn't. So you have people in your life that are trying to help you, to protect you from you, and hopefully not condemning you, hopefully helping you. Brother, you're struggling with something. I see. How can I help you get over this? What can we do? How can I help to protect you from you? One of my friends put me on as a kind of a check and balance for his addiction, like they do in AA. Someone to help to keep him accountable. And that's a nice start. It helps. But at the end of the day, we do know what happened, right? He got rid of the protection system. Something happened that made him feel it didn't matter what happened. Who cares? Alcoholics go on and off the wagon. You say you're not going to look at porn, then you look at it. You say you're not going to smoke, then you smoke. You say this marriage is going to work, and you're working on marriage number 5. Who protects you from you and what goes on in the mind or in the spirit? So it is no wonder that we're talking about protection from the internet and AI. Well, a person created it, and they discovered that AI comes with a bias. Sorry, it's not neutral, folks, just like the news media, because the people that made it were liberal. The people that created it were rather anti-faith, secularist, humanist, and a few Satanists involved, and a few other things in between. It is no wonder that there's a built-in bias in the algorithms. There's only a handful of tech execs, tech companies that run the global internet. Companies are racing to try to build their own platforms that reflect their bias because, like it or not, sorry, AI is not God. It was created by godless men, fallen people, it will reflect. It will reflect their bias, their prejudice, their discrimination, their hate, their greed. And to bring everyone underneath it is to bring you under their bias, their hate, and their greed in order to form the one world government. Who's going to protect you from it? And the AI will do what everyone else does. When they get power, when the king is righteous, the people rejoice. But when he's not, they run for their lives if they're not killed first before they get a chance to run. You're going to pray for a king. You're going to pray for a technology, but you're not going to pray for God to come and rule. And that technology and that king will rule because you want that. You want that king. You want that technology. It will abuse your children. It will enslave you. It will tax you. It will control you. Then it will kill you. See, there is no protection from the things that come from fallen men, the hands of men on this planet. That's male and female, by the way. There is no protection. Man at his best is fallen and corrupt. And that is the hope that we have when we say we trust and believe in Adonai, Elohim, Hashem, Master of the universe. There will never be peace and unity by the hands of men. I'm so sorry to have to tell you that. It just is not ever going to happen. There's one Mashiach, one Messiah, one Savior, one Lord. And until he rules and the kingdoms of this world become his kingdoms, we must strive, press, continue forward, and endure yourself, your own weaknesses, and those around you, with the intent and the goal to do right, to love God, to serve his purpose. And whatever we lack, by his grace and his benevolence, his mercy, which has nothing to do with you and I, but him, is granted to us because he knows who we are. We are a corrupt code, a faulty computer, a distorted data bit of simply molecules and atoms. He made us. He knows us. So what do you do? Do whatever necessary to stay on the path, self-correct, and have others correct. Your file is forever corrupted. Don't worry about that part. It's a lifetime commitment, just like brushing your teeth, just like wiping your butt, just like washing your face, just like combing your hair. It's a lifetime commitment to constantly monitor ourselves when we get up in the morning spiritually. Some days you're going to be dirtier than others. Some days you're going to smell worse than others. Some days are going to be gray. Some days are going to be sunny. But you're still going to get up every day. And you're going to do the work that's necessary. The good days, the bad days. The days where you fall, the days where you stand. To be in a constant mode of protection. In other words, you've got the right and the legal right to carry 24/7. You should be packing so that we fight against the wiles of the devil and the wiles of the sinfulness in our own minds. We don't need the devil's help for that. So we've got to pack every day. And it's the gun, the weapons of our warfare, so that we know how to treat each other and how we know how to help each other. Just don't go shooting off your spiritual gun at people. They might need help. May not need to be killed. They might need you to help them, not kill. They might need you. And more than a baton and a gun, they might need that Band-Aid or that alcohol, that antiseptic, that antibiotic. They might need to be bandaged. And a lot of you are killing people that need your love to help to restore them and help them. You just want to kill. You kill an enemy, not a friend. Remember that. Because God knows God should have killed you, and he didn't. We've got to come together. We're fighting ourselves, we're fighting others, and we're fighting the spiritual forces that are working against us. And this AI is going to be a number one enemy, like everything has always been. And no matter what technology that we have on this planet, we've had to devise a system to protect ourselves against it. Even our government is set up that way. The checks and balances. It's a great system. It's not the best, but it's one of the best of the worst. And what do? You still can't trust the system. You have to have systems in place to protect yourself against the systems. We love cops, but you got to have internal affairs to protect yourself against the cops, against judges that are corrupt and can be bribed, politicians that are bought. No matter what it is, we're protecting ourselves against everything. Always. That's why we have safe rooms. That's why we have bomb shelters. That's why we have panic rooms. We live our life in the mode of preparing ourselves to protect ourselves against any and everything, which includes protecting ourselves against ourselves.